That's 2 in a row, y'all. You got to start somewhere, right? 2 wins in a row on the road on the back of a 38 piece from Steph Curry. Now, so much of the discussion with Steph this season has been how much of this is injury and age, and how much of this is he just doesn't believe he's got a real shot at winning. And it's starting to look more and more like it's the latter. We know he's chipped up. We know age, that the sustainability of big nights, it can't be as consistent. That's not realistic, right? But it goes to show you how much of this game is mental. Because Steph, let's be honest, he looks like a new guy out there. Just his energy, his mentality, his celebrations, he just has new life. Jimmy Butler has injected new life into this team. And maybe not just that, but perhaps a new identity, and watching us parade to the free throw line last night in Milwaukee, I'll admit a little bit of it, like it slows the game down so much. We're like, hey, this is what we wanted. We wanted these whistles now. Now the game is so fragmented, right? But I think that, at least for me personally, maybe part of me not fully appreciating who Jimmy Butler is as a player is the lens we view it through. When he's an opponent and when you're not necessarily rooting for the Heat, what sticks in your mind is this guy's just always muscling his way to the foul line, and he's always grit. It's annoying, right? And so you can't maybe fully appreciate his game as opposed to someone like KD, where you're like, dang, man, what are you gonna do? It's so graceful, it's so aesthetically pleasing. But Jimmy, it almost seems like he's wetting the referee's whistles for us. Pause, right? But it's like, once they get to going, they're like, well, we were blowing this for what? Now we're going to give Moody the call. Now we're going to give Steph the call. And, again, I know it's early, honeymoon phase and all that, but it really does seem like maybe we're locking into a new identity here, a grind out physical bully team. And I think the key part to it is the young guys. When you look at Pods and you look at Moses and Kuminga when he returns, these guys naturally are physical, aggressive players. And so if it's like, hey, our style now is to grind it out, get to the line, be physical and bully players, it seems like that's going to be easy for them to lean into and do because that's kind of part of their nature. It's not like we're asking Jalen Green and Cam Johnson to be gritty and physical and just put your head down and get to the line. It fits the personality of the young guys. And it's maybe not as aesthetically pleasing, but boy, is it refreshing. The older I've got, the more I've realized that routine and consistency is the key to almost everything, right? Now, we're in February. Hoodie season's almost over. We're all always trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle and eat better while still being able to enjoy ourselves. Is it sustainable? We can all do stuff for a little bit of time, but in order for something to be sustainable, especially eating habits, you have to enjoy it a little bit or a lot. And that's where Factor can come in. Fresh, never frozen food delivered directly to your doorstep. It's created by a team of gourmet chefs using only ingredients of integrity to keep you feeling good every day. Now, they've got over 35 meal choices per week. You've got Smart Cow, Chef's Choice, Protein Plus. You can get breakfasts, juices, smoothies. And to me, it's something that's sustainable because I actually enjoy it. And there's always a time in your schedule, whether that's in the morning and you're late for work, lunchtime, you got to grab something where you end up messing up what you're trying to stick to. And again, Factor, it's not only affordable, you've got ingredients of integrity, but it tastes good. I look forward to that Factor meal when I'm on the go or just saving some time at home with dishes and stuff. I'm trying to get to trade talk, right? So head over to factor75.com or click the link in the description and use the code 50alchemy for 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's 50alchemy at factor75.com for 50% off your first box plus free shipping. So another lineup change for the Warriors, Moses Moody in there, Draymond at the 5, and it made sense. It made sense on paper. You don't want Quentin Post getting put in those pick and rolls with Dame early on, and Dame was super aggressive, right, as he always is against the Warriors and Steph Curry. He gets to going. But I thought the interesting thing was, do you remember a few weeks ago, Miami was in San Francisco, and it was another bad loss where they went into a zone for most of the game, and it really just destroyed our offense. right? And then from there on out, every team started dropping into a zone against the Warriors, and it hasn't looked good for us. Like it's part of the scouting report. Hey, play some zone against the Warriors. They don't operate well in it. And so Milwaukee drops into this zone, and we're like, all right, we'll flash Jimmy to the middle of the zone. And boy, did that look different, right? Like right away, it was like, oh, I don't think teams are going to be able to play zone against us. He's a zone buster, right? Because, when you flash Trace Jackson there, slow-mo, all these guys, Draymond, the defense doesn't respond to it. When you flash Jimmy Butler to the nail in the middle of a zone, that's his sweet spot. And so you saw him finding Draymond on those little backdoor slips, Quentin Post a couple times, right? And Milwaukee even tried it in the third quarter. And so, put that on the scouting report now. Sure, try it. I hope some other teams try it, right? Because it works perfect for where Jimmy wants the ball, and they quickly dissected that. Now, I did feel like Draymond got a little hot potato-y with the ball in this one, where he was just kind of overpassing. And I think maybe some of it was they tried to get Loon the ball in Milwaukee a little bit and stuff like that. Lopez is at the rim as a true 7-foot shot blocker, right? But I just don't want Draymond to take on the mentality like when KD was here, where it's like, I don't even got to look to score at all. I'll just hot potato the ball around and pass. Now that we got, because on the contrary, it's not like that, right? Jimmy is going to be operating as the hub much more. Draymond's going to be the hub less and less now that Jimmy's here. So he's got to look to score and be aggressive. And to be fair, they played 2 games together. So their timing is off a little bit, right, with the passing and figuring out the spacing. But I'm not sure how many minutes you want to play, non-Steph minutes with Draymond and Jimmy on the floor, because it kind of, they're just not in sync yet. But they did figure it out. The zone kind of helped them figure out the high-low action, where whether it's Jimmy catching it on a quick post catch or Jimmy's up high at the elbow and Draymond's in the dunker spot, that might be a way for them to operate. But Draymond's got to remain aggressive in with the 3-ball as well. He's got to continue to shoot the 3-ball. The other thing that I would say is, and I know that listening to the interviews, Jimmy had told Draymond and Steph, hey, throw the ball up. I'll get those passes. Hit me with those outlets. And I had tweeted out last night, hey, they got to realize he's 35 too. And so I'm not saying, there's also an element when a new player comes to a team, especially a star one, you maybe overpass it to him because you kind of want to let him know, no, we're looking for you. We're going to get you the ball. We want you here type of thing. So there's that element of it. But I'm just cautioning against some of these crazy outlet and lob passes to Jimmy, because he will sell his body out to try to go get a bad one. And that's where I'm a little concerned, right? And you saw him take a lot of weird, funky collisions on his way to, what did he shoot, 15 or 16 free throws? It's insane. He shot 30 free throws in the first 2 games for the Warriors, right? But in that, you can also see where durability is an issue with Jimmy, with his style of play, the way he sells his body out in some of those collisions. He had a nasty one with Porter Jr. Late in the game, and I was like, oh, hopefully that's all good. And that's part of the discussion here. As I say, I'm copping pleas on Jimmy already, right? It is early, but partly not appreciating his game because kind of how unaesthetically pleasing it is. And when you're on the other end of the foul parade, you're not going to appreciate some of the other things he does because you're focused on that. But talking about this Wiggins-Butler discussion, and some of you that are saying, I can't believe anyone thought that this was a discussion as far as the trade. We can't not act like half of this discussion is availability and durability and age, right? And so that's why I just say, yes, if he's out and you have a clean pass to him, but let's not be, it's much different to throw a crazy lob to Kuminga or Trace, someone who's 22, 23 years old, right? But they have to understand they want to preserve him, right? And so far, so good. Now, the other thing that someone had brought up to me last night on Twitter was, because I noticed this as well, that when Steph sat in the late third and then through the start of the fourth quarter, the actual real time and minutes, he got a 20-minute rest because of all the free throws we were shooting, right? And so I don't think that necessarily is going to mean Kerr's going to change his rotation by any means, but it just means he's getting more real-time rest because of all the fouls and free throws and stoppages of play, right? And you look at that second unit when Quentin Post gets in there with Jimmy and they can play 4 out, 5 out if they want, and he has the space to operate as a creator, and then Quentin kind of put the game away, right? What did he hit? 3 threes? The step back one in transition? Listen, we knew he was a shooter. The question has been, how does he hold up defensively? And I think we can live with it. There's going to be matchups where there's a Dame Lillard or, Trae Young, maybe someone like that, where it's like, all right, we have to dial back his role maybe, at least at the start or whatever the case may be. But like there was a play where they ran a zoom action for Dame where he gets the handoff and he tries to just fire off down the sidelines. And Quentin recognized it and he stepped up hard and there was a foul. There was a big collision. But I can live with that. We can live with that, right? It's the young centers and the young players who are not willing to slide over and have that foul. And they just give a blow by up for a dunk and a lob. And then what was even more impressive was he got switched on Kuzma late in that fourth quarter. And he had recognized, like, there's no way I'm going to be able to stay with him. He had an angle, and he points at Draymond to rotate over, and then he peels back off and boxes out Lopez. And so there's these little nuanced communications that he's making defensively and showing that he understands where to be. He's not always going to get there, and he's going to get picked on. But with his size and IQ and effort level, I think we can more than live with him defensively as he figures more things out. And then you see the three ball, you see the shooting. There's a huge difference between, like everyone tries to shoot the three now, right? Sabonis, you see Sabonis is sitting atop amongst the league leaders in 3-point shooting percentage, right? But that they're not all created equal. He's taking wide open, butt naked threes, right? Quentin Post, he won't just take the three, he wants the three, as you saw last night. And the confidence to take those shots in a game that hasn't been decided on the road as a rookie lets you know it's very real. And so, I know a lot of us were disappointed they didn't get Vucevic. He outplays Vuce the other night in Chicago for the second time. He very much looks ready to contribute and be a part of this thing moving forward. And then I do want to acknowledge Buddy Hield is shooting the ball better right now. And I had this analogy in today's breakdown. I'll put the link in the description for Patreon. But, someone had said, why isn't anybody giving Buddy credit now? He's shooting better, da, 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 da. And I was like, it's like this, man. If you're having a family Thanksgiving dinner and everyone's bringing something, right? You tell Buddy, just pick up a pie from the grocery store. We don't trust you to cook. Right? Like, Buddy, I'm glad that the shooting's coming around, and hopefully this 3-point shootout, maybe he gets some confidence and he has a good performance there, right? But I don't know about you, but I still am apprehensive about Buddy, his shot selection, and him playing what he played 30 plus minutes last night. I know he had 16 points, but we'll see how that goes. It's been better thus far. Podziemski and Moody, I think, were a huge part of the turnover party last night, because that was the stat that jumped out, right? We had 16 steals. Dame had 10 turnovers. Now, to shoot Dame a little bit of bail, a couple of them were to Kuzma, and you could see clearly they weren't on the same page. The other element is, without Giannis, he's not used to seeing two at the screen as much as he had in Portland with Giannis on the floor. And so we took advantage of that. And I just thought Pods and Moody were a huge part of creating deflections, and Pods, who he didn't really shoot well, but the 3 turnovers he created in that fourth quarter off charges was a big deal. Jimmy and Draymond had like 9 or 10 steals combined. They're jumping passing lanes. They're 2 steps ahead, right? And so the defense led to the offense. Steph continues to roll. And now we head into this Texas 2-step against a Dallas team. You've heard of the curse of the Bambino, right? Are we seeing the next great curse, the curse of the Don, the curse of Luka the Don? AD goes down with, it sounds like some sort of sports hernia. Like that's spooky, right? Gafford goes down last night. They lose an OT to the Kings. DeMar does it again, right? So a depleted Mavericks team, as well as a struggling Houston team on the back end of that back-to-back. No Jabari Smith. Van Vliet's been out of the lineup. I think someone else just went down for them. So there's a very real path right now to head into the All-Star break on, a 4-game win streak, and what seems to be sort of a new identity, vitality, juice to this roster. How quickly things can change in the NBA as opposed to a week ago, right? Hey, that's part of being a fan, though. That's why we stick with it. Anyway, let me know how y'all feeling in the comments. And as always, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.